The Galactic Council's Mockery. The story opens in the Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council, a massive structure floating in the void between star systems. Representatives from dozens of alien civilizations gather for the monthly assembly. The chamber buzzes with different languages, clicking sounds, and electronic translations. Captain James Mitchell, humanity's first official representative to the Council, stands at the speaking podium. He is a middle-aged military officer with graying hair and steady eyes. Around him, alien delegates sit in their specialized seats, some floating, others requiring specific atmospheric conditions. The current discussion centers on the recent pirate attacks in the Outer Rim territories. Various species have lost trading vessels and mining operations to organized raider fleets. The Council seeks a unified response to this growing threat. When Captain Mitchell steps forward to offer Earth's military assistance, the chamber falls silent for a moment. Then, a low rumbling sound fills the air, laughter from the assembled delegates. Commander Vex of the Reptilian Alliance speaks first, his forked tongue flicking out as he addresses the human. Your species has been part of our galactic community for barely 2 cycles. What could you possibly offer against threats that have challenged us for centuries? The insectoid delegate from the hive clusters clicks her mandibles in what serves as their form of amusement. Humans fight with primitive chemical explosives and metal projectiles. Our enemies use plasma weapons and energy shields. Ambassador Kral from the warrior race of the Red Planets pounds his four-armed chest. We have been fighting these raiders for decades with our advanced warships. If we cannot stop them, how can these newcomers possibly help? Captain Mitchell remains calm, his military training keeping his face neutral. Earth's military has extensive experience in asymmetric warfare and unconventional tactics. We've studied your reports on these pirate activities. This statement only increases the laughter. The crystalline beings from the silicon worlds create a sound like wind chimes as they express their amusement. Study reports? Their translator echoes. We have lived this reality for generations. The debate continues for hours. Each alien representative takes turns explaining why humanity's offer is both unnecessary and potentially dangerous. They argue that humans are too aggressive, too unpredictable, and too primitive to handle sophisticated galactic threats. Supreme Chancellor Zor, an ancient being whose species founded the Council millennia ago, raises his hand for silence. The human's offer is noted and appreciated. However, we believe this matter requires more experienced intervention. The Council votes to increase patrols using the combined fleets of the major powers. They assign the operation to the Hegemony Forces, an elite military unit comprised of the galaxy's most advanced civilizations. Captain Mitchell listens to the voting results without expression. When asked if he has any final comments, he simply nods. Earth understands the Council's decision. We will monitor the situation with great interest. As the session ends, small groups of delegates gather to discuss the human's presentation. Their conversations are filled with condescending remarks about humanity's naivety and overconfidence. Commander Vex approaches several colleagues. Did you see how seriously that human took himself? As if their tiny fleet could handle threats that challenge our combined might. The insectoid delegate joins the conversation. Their weapons technology is at least 3 centuries behind our standard equipment. They still use kinetic projectiles in an age of directed energy weapons. What the aliens don't know is that Captain Mitchell has been recording everything through a discrete neural implant. Every dismissive comment, every condescending laugh, and every strategic detail shared in their presence is being transmitted back to Earth's military command. The captain makes his way through the station's corridors, passing various alien species going about their business. He enters his assigned quarters, a small but functional space designed to accommodate human physiology. Once alone, he activates a secure communication link to Earth. The holographic image of General Harrison appears, a stern woman with silver hair and sharp eyes. "How did it go, Captain?" She asks. "Exactly as predicted, General. They consider us primitive and irrelevant. They've dismissed our offer and are handling the pirate situation themselves." General Harrison nods slowly. "And their tactical approaches?" "Conventional fleet actions, standard patrol patterns, and predictable response times. They're fighting a 20th century war with 25th century technology." "Understood. Continue monitoring the situation. If their operation fails as we anticipate, we'll be ready with Phase 2. As the communication ends, Captain Mitchell looks out at the stars beyond his window. The alien laughter still echoes in his memory, but his expression shows no anger, only the quiet confidence of someone who knows something his opponents don't. The Council had laughed at humanity's offer. Soon they would learn why that was a mistake. 3 weeks after the Council's decision, the hegemony forces launched their grand operation against the pirate fleets. Their strategy followed traditional Galactic Warfare doctrine, overwhelming firepower delivered through coordinated fleet actions. Admiral Thane commanded the operation from the flagship Cosmic Dominion, a massive vessel bristling with the latest plasma cannons and quantum shields. The fleet consisted of over 200 ships from various Council member species. The first phase appeared successful. Hegemony forces destroyed several pirate outposts and captured dozens of raider vessels. News reports across the galaxy celebrated the swift victories, and Council members praised their decisive action. Captain Mitchell observed these developments from his position on the Council station. He attended briefings where alien commanders proudly displayed their battle footage and casualty reports. The pirates seemed to be retreating to the galaxy's unexplored regions, but something felt wrong to the human observer. The captured pirates offered no resistance during interrogation. Their ships contained outdated equipment and minimal supplies. Most importantly, their bases showed signs of hasty abandonment rather than desperate defense. "They're fighting decoys," Captain Mitchell reported to Earth during his daily briefing. "The real pirate leadership is letting their expendable forces get destroyed while they prepare something larger." General Harrison's image flickered slightly due to the long-distance transmission. "Any indication of their true capabilities?" "Intelligence suggests they've been building their strength for months. These aren't random raiders. They're organized, well-funded, and playing a much longer game than the Council realizes." The captain's suspicions proved correct within days. The pirate counterattack began in the Meridian sector, where a major trading hub connected 15 different star systems. The assault came without warning and with overwhelming force. The first wave consisted of cloaked vessels that penetrated the sector's defenses undetected. They emerged from hyperspace directly inside the defensive perimeter, catching the hegemony garrison completely off guard. These weren't the crude raider ships the Council had been fighting. The pirate fleet wielded advanced technology, adaptive shields, rapid-fire plasma batteries, and electronic warfare systems that jammed all communications. Within hours, the entire Meridian sector fell silent. The last transmission from the garrison commander reported hundreds of enemy vessels emerging from previously unknown hyperspace corridors. The Council emergency session convened immediately. Panic filled the chamber as representatives realized the scope of their miscalculation. The pirates hadn't been weakened. They had been studying hegemony, tactics, and preparing their true offensive. Admiral Thane's remaining forces attempted to retake the sector, but the pirates had prepared for this response. They used the captured trading stations as fortified bases, turning the Council's own infrastructure against them. Worse, the pirates demonstrated detailed knowledge of hegemony military procedures. They anticipated every tactical maneuver, countered every standard strategy, and exploited every weakness in Council doctrine. Commander Vex stood before the assembled delegates, his earlier confidence replaced by barely controlled fear. The enemy has seized control of 12 star systems. Our fleet has suffered 60% casualties. They're using our own trade routes to supply their operations. The insectoid delegate's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of extreme agitation in her species. They know our codes, our patrol schedules, our weapon frequencies. Someone has been feeding them information. For months. Supreme Chancellor Zor's ancient face showed deep concern. The situation is more serious than initially assessed. We require immediate reinforcement from all member species. As the debate continued, Captain Mitchell sat quietly in the observer section. His expression remained neutral, but his mind worked rapidly. The pirates' success came from their willingness to abandon conventional warfare principles, exactly what Earth's military had been suggesting. The aliens had laughed at humanity's offer of unconventional tactics. Now those same tactics were being used against them by an enemy who understood that superior technology meant nothing without superior strategy. The session lasted for hours as council members argued over resource allocation and tactical revisions. Every proposed solution followed the same predictable patterns that had already failed. Finally, Supreme Chancellor Zor called for order. We face an unprecedented crisis. The enemy has demonstrated capabilities beyond our previous estimates. All options must be considered. Commander Vex looked toward the human observer. Perhaps we should reconsider certain offers of assistance. The chamber fell silent. The same delegates who had laughed at humanity's primitive methods now contemplated. Asking for help from the species they had dismissed, Captain Mitchell stood slowly. Earth's offer remains available to the Council. However, our methods may seem unconventional by galactic standards. The silence stretched longer. Pride warred with desperation in the alien faces around him. The pirates had taught them a harsh lesson about the limitations of conventional thinking. Now they would learn what humanity had to offer. The emergency vote took place in a subdued council chamber. The same delegates who had mocked humanity's military capabilities now faced a choice between their pride and their survival. The pirates controlled 17 star systems and showed no signs of slowing their advance. Supreme Chancellor Zor's voice carried centuries of weariness. The Council recognizes the severity of our situation. We formally request Earth's military assistance in resolving the current crisis. Captain Mitchell stood to address the Assembly. Earth accepts the Council's request. However, our methods will differ significantly from standard galactic warfare doctrine. We ask for complete operational authority in the assigned sectors. The alien delegates exchanged uncertain glances. Commander Vex spoke first. What exactly do you propose that our advanced fleets could not accomplish? We propose to win, Captain Mitchell replied simply. But we'll need access to your intelligence networks, supply chains, and communication systems. Our forces will operate independently of existing command structures. Within hours, the first human ships arrived through previously unknown hyperspace corridors. The alien observers were initially disappointed by what they saw. The human vessels appeared primitive compared to the sleek designs of Council fleets. The ships used angular, utilitarian designs with visible armor plating and weapon systems. Instead of smooth energy shields, they carried reactive armor and point defense systems. Their hulls showed battle scars and modification marks that would shame most galactic militaries. Colonel Sarah Drake commanded the Human Expeditionary Force from her flagship Relentless. She was a veteran of Earth's recent colonial wars, with short-cropped hair and the lean build of a career soldier. The aliens are expecting us to fight like they do, she explained to her senior staff. Big formations, direct confrontation, traditional tactics. The pirates are counting on the same approach. The human strategy began with what appeared to be a standard reconnaissance mission. Small scout ships probed the outer edges of pirate-controlled space, seemingly gathering intelligence for a larger assault. But these weren't reconnaissance missions. The human ships were placing microsatellites, sensor drones, and communication relays throughout the contested regions. They were building a surveillance network that would make the pirates' cloaking technology useless. Captain Rick Foster led the first phase of operations. His ship, the Ghost Walker, specialized in electronic warfare and stealth penetration. Unlike the aliens' energy-based cloaking, human stealth relied on sensor confusion and signature manipulation. The pirates detected the human ships easily enough, but couldn't understand their purpose. The small vessels avoided combat, retreated when challenged, and seemed to accomplish nothing of tactical value. "They're just poking around," reported the pirate commander Skull Eye to his leadership. "These humans fight like cowards. They run from every engagement." Meanwhile, the human surveillance network began mapping pirate movements with unprecedented precision. Every ship, every communication, every supply run was tracked and analyzed by artificial intelligence systems that had been developed during Earth cyber wars. The aliens observed these preparations with growing confusion. Ambassador Krall watched the human activities from the council station. "They spend more time studying data than fighting battles. How can this defeat an enemy that has crushed our fleets?" Colonel Drake's response came during a joint briefing with council military leaders. "You've been fighting the pirates like they're a conventional enemy. They're not. They're a criminal organization that uses military tactics. We fight them like criminals." The first human strike came without warning and in a way that violated every principle of galactic warfare. Instead of targeting the pirates' military assets, the humans hit their supply networks. A small team led by Captain Lisa Chan infiltrated a pirate supply depot using forged credentials and stolen identification codes. They didn't destroy the facility, they poisoned it. Every piece of equipment, every supply cache, every computer system was infected with dormant viruses and sabotage programs. The pirates unknowingly distributed these compromised supplies throughout their organization. Weapons malfunctioned at critical moments. Communication systems transmitted false information. Life support systems developed mysterious failures. Within days, the pirate fleet began experiencing what they assumed were random equipment failures. Ships lost power during combat. Shields failed without explanation. Navigation systems led vessels into asteroid fields. The pirates' leadership grew paranoid, suspecting sabotage from within their own ranks. They began arresting their own officers and executing suspected traitors. The organization that had seemed invincible began tearing itself apart. Council observers watched these developments with amazement. The humans had achieved more in 1 week than the hegemony forces had accomplished in months of direct warfare. But this was only the beginning. The aliens had asked for humanity's help, and they were about to discover exactly what that meant. Laughter had stopped. Now came the education. Asterisk as the pirate organization crumbled from internal paranoia and sabotage. The human forces prepared for the next phase of their campaign. The aliens had seen unconventional tactics, but they hadn't yet witnessed the full scope of human military capability. Colonel Drake stood in the command center of the Relentless, surrounded by holographic displays showing pirate fleet movements across 17 star systems. Her staff worked with quiet efficiency, coordinating operations that spanned multiple sectors simultaneously. "The pirates are consolidating their remaining forces around the Nexus station," reported Commander Blake, her tactical officer. "They're abandoning the outer territories and preparing for a final defensive stand." The Nexus station was a massive structure built into an asteroid field, serving as the pirates' primary command base. Its shields and weapon systems had been upgraded with technology stolen from Council fleets. The pirates believed it was impregnable. The council military leaders expected the humans to organize a traditional siege. Their own forces had attempted to assault the station twice, resulting in devastating casualties. The pirates' defensive systems were simply too powerful for conventional attack. Captain Mitchell, still serving as liaison between Earth and the Council, attended the joint planning session. The alien commanders presented their analysis of the station's defenses and recommended a massive fleet assault. The station can withstand the firepower of 300 ships, Admiral Thane explained. We'll need to coordinate attacks from multiple vectors and accept significant losses. Colonel Drake listened to the presentation without comment. When asked for her input, she simply nodded. We'll handle the station. The human approach began with what appeared to be a routine supply mission. A single transport ship, the Quiet Dawn, approached the asteroid field carrying food and medical supplies for refugees from the outer territories. The pirates, still dealing with internal chaos from the sabotage campaign, allowed the ship to pass. They were too busy executing suspected traitors to properly screen civilian traffic. The transport ship's manifest was genuine. It did carry food and medical supplies. But hidden within the cargo containers were 50 human Special Forces soldiers led by Captain Tom Rodriguez, a veteran of Earth's most classified operations. The team infiltrated the station through the cargo bay, using the ongoing paranoia to their advantage. They wore stolen pirate uniforms and carried forged identification papers. In the confusion, they appeared to be just another security team searching for saboteurs. While the infiltration team prepared for their mission, the human fleet positioned itself throughout the asteroid field. But these weren't traditional warships preparing for assault. Each vessel carried specialized equipment for a very different kind of warfare. The Shadowhawk deployed advanced sensor jammers that made the pirates' long-range scanners useless. The Nightfall released thousands of micro-drones that attached themselves to asteroid surfaces, creating a hidden observation network. The Prometheus carried the most critical equipment, a quantum communication array that could penetrate the station's shielding. This would allow real-time coordination between the infiltration team and the external forces. Inside the station, Captain Rodriguez's team moved with practiced precision. They had studied the facility's layout through data captured from pirate communication systems. Every corridor, every security checkpoint, every vital system was mapped and planned for. The humans didn't attempt to fight their way to the command center. Instead, they targeted the station's infrastructure, power distribution, life support, communication networks, and defensive systems. They moved like ghosts through the facility, leaving behind precisely placed charges and computer viruses. Pirates' internal security was focused on finding saboteurs among their own ranks. They never suspected that the real threat was a team of human soldiers who had been planning this operation for weeks at exactly 0300 station time. The human plan reached its climax. The infiltration team activated their charges simultaneously, crippling the station's defensive systems. The shields flickered and died. The weapons arrays went offline. Emergency lighting cast eerie shadows through the corridors, but the humans still didn't attack with their fleet. Instead, they broadcast a message on all frequencies, a message that would be heard throughout the galaxy. Colonel Drake's voice cut through the static. This is the human fleet to all pirate vessels. You have 30 minutes to surrender unconditionally. Any ship that attempts to flee will be destroyed. Any station that continues resistance will be eliminated. The pirates' response was predictable: defiance and threats. They activated backup systems and prepared for the assault they expected. Assault never came. Instead, the human fleet demonstrated a capability that no galactic civilization had ever developed. The pirates were about to learn that sometimes the most devastating weapon is not superior firepower, but superior intelligence and the will to use it without mercy. The pirate fleet's backup systems lasted exactly 17 minutes before they too began failing. The human cyber warfare specialists had spent weeks infiltrating every system, every network, every piece of technology the pirates had stolen from Council forces. Captain Rodriguez's team had already secured the station's command center. They moved through the facility like death itself, encountering no organized resistance. The pirates were too busy dealing with cascading system failures to mount any effective defense. All defensive systems are offline, Rodriguez reported to Colonel Drake. We have control of their command and communication networks. The pirate leadership found themselves trapped in their own fortress. The station's weapons couldn't fire, the shields couldn't activate, and the life support systems were operating at the human's discretion. Every door, every elevator, every computer terminal answered to human commands. But the most devastating blow came when the humans activated the station's communication array. Instead of jamming pirate frequencies, they broadcast every transmission, every secret order, every hidden plan that the pirates had made over the past year. The galaxy listened in stunned silence as the pirates' own communications revealed their infiltration of Council security systems. Names, locations, and classified information poured across every channel. The pirates had been receiving intelligence from corrupted officials within multiple Council member species. Commander Vex's voice cracked as he monitored the broadcasts from the Council station. They knew our patrol schedules, our weapon frequencies, our tactical doctrines. Someone has been selling our secrets for months. The revelation shattered the pirates' support network. Their corrupt contacts within the Council governments were exposed and arrested. Their hidden supply bases were identified and seized. Their escape routes were blocked by forces that now knew their exact locations. Within hours, the pirate organization that had controlled 17 star systems ceased to exist as a functional entity. Those who didn't surrender were hunted down by their own former allies. Desperate to prove their loyalty to the Council, the human fleet never fired a shot at the Nexus station. They simply waited as the pirates' own panic and desperation destroyed them from within. Colonel Drake stood on the station's command deck, watching as the last pirate vessels surrendered to Council forces. The same aliens who had laughed at humanity's primitive methods now competed to accept the surrendering criminals. Supreme Chancellor Zor's image appeared on the communication screen, his ancient features showing a mixture of gratitude and concern. Colonel Drake, the Council is impressed by your methods. The pirate threat has been eliminated with minimal casualties. The pirates eliminated themselves, Drake replied. We simply provided the proper motivation. Captain Mitchell joined the conversation from his position aboard the Council station. The intelligence gathered during this operation will help prevent similar threats in the future. The corruption within Council security systems has been exposed and eliminated. The aftermath of the human victory spread throughout the galaxy like ripples in a pond. The same species that had dismissed humanity as primitive and irrelevant now studied every aspect of the operation. The humans had demonstrated capabilities that transcended traditional military thinking. They had shown that victory came not from superior firepower, but from superior intelligence, planning, and the willingness to fight without conventional limitations. Ambassador Krell approached Captain Mitchell after the formal debriefing session. The proud warrior's 4 arms hung at his sides in a gesture of respect. Your species fights differently than we expected. We fight to win, Mitchell replied. The methods are less important than the results. The conversation was interrupted by an emergency alert. Long-range sensors had detected a massive fleet approaching from the galactic rim, ships of unknown design and origin. The threat that had just been eliminated was being replaced by something potentially far worse. The Council chamber erupted in panic as the new threat was analyzed. The approaching fleet was larger than any force the galaxy had ever assembled. Their technology was completely foreign, their intentions unknown. Supreme Chancellor Zor's voice cut through the chaos. Emergency session. All member species are required to contribute to the defense of galactic civilization. The alien delegates looked toward the human representatives with new understanding. A species they had laughed at, the primitive newcomers they had dismissed, had just proven themselves capable of achieving what the galaxy's combined might could not. Captain Mitchell stood to address the assembly. Earth stands ready to defend the galaxy. But this time, we suggest the Council consider our tactical recommendations from the beginning. The chamber fell silent. The laughter had ended forever. The aliens had learned that sometimes the most dangerous enemies are those you underestimate. Now they would learn what it meant to have humanity as an ally when the galaxy's survival was at stake. The real war was just beginning. Asterisk.